This media is brought to you by Polyscope.
In the realm of tomorrow, where tech meets mind, we ponder, we dream.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Think Future. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. And today, we've got a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and what you're passionate about?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Steve Brown. I've been in high tech, digital transformation, and AI for about 35 years.
No,
Yeah,
you
I'm
don't look
that
it.
old. Well,
You
thank
don't
you.
look it, although you
Yeah.
have lost all of your hair. So that's
Well,
typically,
it
I,
makes
I
it much
haven't been
easier.
wearing as long as you have. So
It makes it much easier getting ready in the morning. It's just a
this
quick
is
shaver.
true. This is true. A little polish. That's all you need, right?
Yeah, somewhat. I've worked at Intel for most of my career. I started as an engineer and then uh, worked my way over to the business side of things and rose to be one of Intel's two futurists working in Intel labs. In
Wonderful.
2016, as one of Intel's futurists, I figured out Intel's future was not very good based on the direction they were going. So I exited stage left and took a package and got out and started my own consulting business. And I've been doing that for about 10 years now. I took a slight detour along the way. I got invited to go and work in DeepMind, Google DeepMind.
Whoa,
DeepMind
nice.
is Google's AI research lab back in London. So I live on the West Coast in Portland, Oregon, but I got to go back to London and recharge my British accent and immerse myself in all things AI and work for an amazing team of people. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I came back and I've been helping businesses to understand AI and understand how to use it to amplify what they do for the last couple of years or so.
Wow, that sounds amazing. How did you get yourself out of that? If I was in that deep black hole, I would never leave it. It sounds.
Um, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but it was supposed to be a year assignment, and we liked each other enough. We extended it to two. They had a hole in the organization they needed me to fill for them. But my life was here on the west coast of the US, and so
Mm.
my wife and I came back.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you were able to extricate yourself from that amazing environment for your own reasons. That's great.
Yeah, they were great to work for them. Amazing culture, and they're having profound impact in the world. But I love what I do now because I work with a broad range of companies across a wide range of industries, and they're all challenged to understand AI and understand how it's going to shape the future of their business. So I get to step into that breach and help them to understand it and then to lead through what's going to be dramatic change.
Right. So, did you ever work with the Institute for the Future here in Palo Alto?
No, I haven't. I know
Okay,
some people over
because
there, yeah.
I remember doing some work for them, and Intel was one of their clients, and we did do some work for them. So I don't know if maybe our paths crossed virtually at some point when
Could
that
be,
was
could
happening.
be, yeah.
But the one thing that was very interesting about them is like the Institute for the Future is all about 10 years out plus, right? And the difficulty they have, and I think most futurists may have this difficulty as well. I don't know if you've seen it. I've seen it. Is connecting the what we're not predicting, but the scenarios that we're building
Mhm.
10, 20 plus years out to today. I mean, sometimes the business looks at it and goes, well, this is very nice, but it's not going to help me now. How do we bridge this gap from that scenario that you're telling me was going to happen in 2035 to what's happening today?
Yeah, and I mean, thinking out 10 years right now, good luck with that. It's really hard because the pace
We're
of
going to do it
change.
at the end, by the way. We're going to do it anyway.
Okay, we'll have a go. I mean, I've got some ideas, but
Sure.
it is much harder, and you can only do really broad brushstrokes now. When I left Intel in 2015, 16, we were wrapping up the 2025, 2026 business plan. And I'm sure it changed along the way, but you had some rough, broad strokes of where things were going. It's much harder now. I mean,
Mm.
it's hard to predict what's going to happen in the AI world 3 to 6 months from now.
So, do you think that it's gotten much? It sounds like you're saying it's gotten more difficult to predict where
Yes.
things are going to go. So, were you able to predicts some not predicts. Yeah, hey, we don't like
A
using that
good
word, right?
futurist never
It's like
predicts. Yeah.
in 2007 or in 2017 or whatever, were you able to not correctly, but be more correct in where you thought things were going to go?
Yes, I think so. I mean, when I look back over the last 10 years, and a good futurist never predicts, you look at trends, you play those trends forward, and you see how they intersect with each other and what that will make possible in a certain time frame. People have to decide and put the capital in to invest to make those things possible, but at least you can kind of get a feel for where things are going. As I look back over the last 10 years or so, I called most of it right. The things
Mm,
that I thought would happen would happen. I thought self-driving cars would happen a little sooner than they have. But that's you can't get the timings right on them, but directionally that's all happening. You see Zoox and Waymo triumphing in the marketplace. But yeah, it's certainly more difficult now because you're not sure when the next left turn is going to happen, right? There are
mm,
some things you can project forward. So AI is starting to crush math benchmarks now,
right.
and it's winning gold medal prizes at math level. So you play that forward, you continue to train and do post training on those models. They're going to get better and better at math, and soon math is going to fall to AI. It will be solved
Mm,
by AI. We will have solved all of the open mathematical problems. What does what mathematical proofs underpin physics? So then physics falls. So you can see the dominoes that are going to fall, but it's figuring out when those big breakthroughs are going to happen, and then thinking about all the myriad implications, right? If maths falls and then physics falls after that, then material science falls after that. You have all these new materials at your fingertips. AI is also a great platform for solving biological challenges. So we saw that with AlphaFold from Google DeepMind and solving the protein folding problem. Chemistry is in the same realm, molecular chemistry. So the combination of AI and quantum could mean that, and I tell my audiences this, we could see more technological breakthroughs in the next 5 years than the last 50. And if 50 years ago, Jaws and The Towering Inferno were the top movies in the box office. So, a lot's
that's right.
happened since then. And take all of that technological change we've experienced over the last 50 years and crush it into the next five. You could see enormous breakthroughs in material science, in medicine, engineering, science. I mean, AI is a fast forward button for scientific discovery, and it's just a fascinating time to be alive.
It's interesting you should say that because sometimes I think that we've given it too much credit. That we think that the models that we're seeing today and the extension of the models and the evolution of the models that we're seeing today actually are going to get us to AGI and beyond and crack open some of those things that you've been talking about. But do you really think that we've hit that, or we're going to hit that, or we may be going down maybe a path that we believe is it's going to
Yeah.
hit, but it's not actually going to be there?
I don't think scaling on its own will be enough to get us to AGI. I think
Right.
there are a few. Dario Moda seems to think that, the CEO of Anthropic. Most other frontier lab leaders don't think that. They
Mm.
think there are probably at least one or two more big algorithmic breakthroughs to get, continuous learning capabilities, really solve the memory challenges that AI has today. There's some things we still have to figure out before I think we get to anything we would call this seriously AGI, human level intelligence.
Yeah. So I think we do need some breakthroughs to occur because I think that a lot of people are saying that we're on the way. In fact, we've passed it in some ways, but I don't think we're actually there in a real sense.
Yeah, the fact that artificial intelligence, and I prefer to call it simulated intelligence, um, has amazing abilities, far more. I mean, it can speak hundreds of languages. There's no human that can do that. It has amazing breadth of domain knowledge, which no single human can have, but yet it fails at very simple tasks that humans find trivial. So
Yeah.
it's there in some areas, but not in others. And it's to fill those holes and to get us to a truly, general and then super intelligence, we're going to need some breakthroughs. Now, the question is, Chris, have those breakthroughs already been made?
Mm.
and they are in various labs around the world which are competing and therefore not sharing what those breakthroughs are. Or do we have those, but it takes time for those breakthroughs to be felt? I mean, if you think about the transformer, that paper, that research paper from Google came out in 2017, but it wasn't really until 2022 with ChatGPT being launched in November that we saw, a broad impact on the world and people going, "Oh my God, this is something big." So it could be that it just takes time for these algorithms that are already developed to be deployed in meaningful ways that get us there.
Right, but if you think about it, other technologies have taken a really long time to get to that point. Anyway, look at something like a fax machine. A fax machine was invented, what, in the
Yeah,
20s? And
yeah, great
then it took
example.
to the
Yeah,
70s till it get here. And if something was invented in 17 and actually saw widespread distribution in 22, that's
that's great.
really accelerating the timeline. Really.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so the question is, do we have some of those algorithms in place now? And if not, then when we come up with them, what's the timeline needed to get them to market and to solve these problems and really create something powerful? It could be just a matter of months. We don't know yet.
Well,
That's
it
why
sounds
there's
like
so many uncertainties.
this is made so it's made this job way harder,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's not impossible yet, but it's way harder.
Yeah, and so you have to start saying, well, okay, well, let's assume that AGI comes in a certain time frame, and let's say it's, maybe it's 2030, maybe it's early 2030s. Then what? And so you can start to play things forward from there and think through the implications to work, to the economy, to society more broadly. But that's the only way you can do it now, is to sort of
Mhm.
make broad assumptions about when things are going to fall into place.
And then what would you say would occur when AGI occurs? But it's going to be in a small pockets. It's not going to be everywhere at once, and it'll be
Yeah.
specific things that it can actually do. So it'll still be narrow AGI. It wouldn't be completely open to everyone.
Well, there's so many factors, Chris, right? So
Mm.
um, if more scaling is required to get us there, so as well as algorithmic breakthroughs, you need to use giganto data centers just to deliver, one thread of AGI, if you like.
Right.
We already see that Google and OpenAI are struggling. They can't launch all of their latest features because they don't have enough computing bandwidth to deliver them at the scale that people will want them. So yeah, you may find that, a beefy AGI may not be something you can scale rapidly. But maybe AGI then helps you to optimize that system quite rapidly. We're
Mm.
seeing the cost to deliver tokens crashing down over time. So I think it might be quite quick for the cost to come down. So then you get down to what is industry's ability to absorb that technology and deploy it. That I think will be more likely to be the factor that determines how quickly things roll out. And the thing is, AGI rolls out over the top of existing capabilities, right? It comes through the internet, the cloud, established capabilities, broadband underneath that. So, and into devices that already exist in our lives and will be deployed over the next 5 years. So, if you have done the hard work to deploy agents strategically throughout your workflows in your business, then what you're essentially doing when AGI comes is you're turning the dial on the intelligence for all of those agents up to
Mm.
a little Spinal Tap reference for you there. Same with your robots, right? If you have robots deployed, suddenly they will be able to do everything.
Right.
So it's a question of thinking about and assuming that that happens at some point, putting those investments in place so that you reap the benefits when AGI does happen, whenever that is.
So you think that all of this power issue is a tractable problem? There's a way to figure it out that we don't need to scale to the levels we're scaling to in order to have AGI.
Maybe, and we don't know. That's the
Mm.
thing. Because what are the things that we
We need
hope
an
that,
AGI to figure this out.
well, and that's the thing, you get these little loops that happen where AGI is helping you to accelerate your thinking and accelerate your capabilities. One of the things we're hoping will come out of AGI is fusion at scale. And once we
Mm.
have, fusion energy at scale, then you can start to do magical things. Abundant energy will enable us to do all kinds of incredible things.
Wait, did we actually do it? Did we actually achieve fusion, cold fusion?
Not not to the point where you're getting net energy out. You're
Right,
still putting more energy in. AI already helps quite a bit with getting us close to that point. Inside a tokamak, you are holding a plasma and it's hotter than the center of the sun. So it's important it doesn't touch the sides. And so
right.
they're very powerful electromagnets that are holding it in place. And the signals to those electromagnets need to be changed 10,000 times a second because
Mm,
it's a dynamic system. And no human can obviously do that, but an AI can. It can
right.
be trained to not only hold the plasma in place, but to shape it to provide optimal reaction so you get maximum energy out. So AI is certainly going to play a role in helping us to get to fusion energy, and then fusion energy will help us deploy AI at scale.
Wow. So
I love that.
one thing feeds into another. I love it. That's
Yeah.
insane. And then, so how far away do you think we are from something like that?
People I'm talking to think that we'll see first fusion reactors in the 2032 timeframe.
Wow, that's
And,
insane.
and that's, a real reactor creating energy that can be used to do useful work.
But that's unlimited energy. Well, nearly unlimited energy we're talking about here. I mean, that is the real, if you think about it, that is the real problem, isn't it? I mean, being able
Yeah.
to generate enough energy to be able to power everything that we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as the three main factors are energy, materials, so we're going to get breakthroughs in material science, room temperature superconductors, those sorts of things, and then intelligence. Having abundant intelligence enables us to solve all kinds of problems.
Wow. So when you talk about it doing away, not what was the phrase you used? It will break physics? No, it wasn't. It's not going to break physics. It'll
Oh,
solve
solve
physics.
physics. Yeah, solvable physics. Yeah.
So this is where it's crossing over into the material world, and that you think that will actually happen? That it will be able to make those changes?
That's what we hope. Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, when I first interviewed to work at DeepMind, I had to do 17 interviews, Chris. They're very thorough about the people they hire. And two of those interviews were with Sedemis Hassabis, the CEO.
Hmm.
And we had delightful conversations. He is such an amazing man. And one of the first conversations we had, he talked to me about Einstein. And he said, think about Einstein, the smartest person we all think about in human history is Einstein, right? Einstein's become almost a word that means the smartest person.
Right.
Um, and so, he lived a long life and he worked on his physics problems for his entire life. And, an entire entire human life of Einstein, he wasn't able to come up with a unified theory of physics, right?
Hmm.
There's still things that eluded him. And Demis realized this when he was a young boy, and he was studying physics and the life of Einstein. And he realized one brilliant human lifetime is not enough to create these breakthroughs. We need to build machines to help us think. And that's what set Demis on his mission to create AGI, because he
Right.
realized that's what will yield breakthroughs for humankind.
So, do you really think that there is a unified theory?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's a great debate. I've got a bunch of string theory books on my shelf back there. And I'm fascinated by it, but I haven't been able to wrap my head around it. And it would be nice if there was a unified theory,
I
right?
think I think for our human minds, we would love to see something like that, but I have a feeling the universe is not that clean cut.
Yeah, we would like elegant solutions, simple solutions to things, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
explain it all. But yeah, maybe we don't get that. But it would be nice.
It's nice to think about.
Yeah.
Well, so tell me more about this quantum thing, because I think that's the sort of like the ultimate combination that will clear the path to almost everything. Where do you see quantum and AI working together?
Yeah, I'm not a big expert on quantum. I have a good friend from university days who's the CEO of a quantum company. Um, and he tells me, things are going very well over there. I think the biggest challenge with quantum is the complexity of programming it to do useful work for us.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I've heard that as
so
well.
my gut tells me that AI becomes essentially the compiler that
Mm.
enables us to express what we want in human language, and then the AI will, if it's trained well enough, it will then develop the quantum program to be able to achieve that task. So
Ah,
my gut tells me that's the role that AI plays to unlock value in quantum. So that's one opportunity. The other one is maybe the substrate upon which AI operates needs to be quantum
mm.
rather than digital. That may unlock all kinds of possibilities. There are theories that consciousness in the human brain is operating at the quantum level. There's something happening in quantum physics in our minds. So it's beyond just the synapses and neurons firing. There's something more there. So maybe that's the way it will play out, as we'll actually build AI on top of quantum.
I can see that as being our interpreter or our translator. So it's how to work with this thing because I can't wrap my mind around quantum, and no matter how much I think about it, no matter what much I read about it, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I love books like The Elegant Universe and others in that realm that help you get an entryway into quantum, but at some point it's just so deeply weird. It's
Mm,
hard for the human brain to wrap around and creating quantum and I've seen a little bit, I've studied a little bit about programming quantum computers and what a quantum program looks like, but they get very complicated very quickly. So I
mm.
think that's where you're going to need an AI as the interpreter between our desires and wishes for what we wish the quantum computer to do and actually the quantum code to program it.
Yeah, because I did some work for with quantum computing back when I was working for a financial services company,
Hmm.
and they basically said that the use case is the problem, right? I mean, all of the use cases we were throwing at it were better off in classical computing. They didn't want to use quantum for it because it made no sense. So it's like, what do you use quantum for? What is quantum better for than what we're throwing at classical computers today?
Yeah, I mean, I've studied that as well. It's not like we're going to have a quantum accelerator in our phones, where we have a graphic accelerator, right? There are certain tasks. I mean, cryptography, right, is
Mm,
the obvious one.
yeah.
Um, but when you get to molecular chemistry and the complexity of understanding the interactions between complex molecules, that can require quantum computing for that scale because there's so much going on there. Um, but beyond that, I'm not aware of applications that are in plain sight that are just waiting for quantum to solve them.
Right.
It still remains a pretty specialist area.
So let's go back to AI for a second. You were saying that your the tactics that you used when you were trying to figure out the scenarios for the future have changed since AI. Has anything else changed since then?
Um, I've always focused on trying to make technology accessible to people,
Right.
but when it comes to AI, I have to work extra hard.
Mm,
And so, if I have any kind of superpower, Chris, it's that I can explain complex technology in a way that's accessible to normal people.
right.
Um, And with AI, you have to really work hard to bring that to life for people
Mm,
because not only is there complexity in trying to explain essentially how the brain works in electronic form, but also there's a lot of fear around the topic.
mm.
James Cameron has done a number on us and got us all, worried that the Terminator is going to come and kill us all. And so you have to penetrate through that as well. People are worried about losing their jobs. So it just takes a little bit more effort to craft messages so that they land with my audiences.
Well, would you say that the tide is starting to turn away from the doom and gloom when it comes to AI, and more people are using it in a positive way, in an optimistic way? That things are getting better.
Yeah, I mean, AI has what, 800 million daily users now.
Mm,
So a lot of people are getting exposed to it, and they may have tried it a year ago or 2 years ago and thought, well, it's okay. If you haven't tried it in the last 2 months, then you haven't tried AI because
oh yeah.
it's moved so quickly. It's amazing. So people are dipping their toes. They're finding value in it. They're realizing, oh, this doesn't threaten me. It amplifies me. It lets me do more. And I think, there's become an adage in the industry that you're not going to be replaced by an AI. You're going to be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI better than you do.
Yes, I've heard that before.
It's a little, yeah, it's become sort of a trope now. But it reminds me a little bit of what the 2000s, where we all had to learn how to use. I mean, if you're old enough, Word Perfect and Lotus 1-2-3, but
Oh my God.
the Excel
Blast from
suite.
the past.
Right, yeah. But all those tools came and there was a learning curve, and then when you used them, suddenly you were way more productive. And the
Mhm.
same is true with AI. Just there's a learning curve and you have to invest in yourself and build your own AI acumen to make sure that you remain competitive. Now, long term, when we get to AGI, all bets are off. I
Mhm.
think we could see 75 to 80% of jobs fall to AI.
Oh,
And
easily.
yeah,
Easily.
but I think there will still be jobs that are around because we will choose them to still be done by humans. I don't
Right.
want to go to Broadway and watch robots leap about on stage, right? That makes no sense to me.
It's
I'd
just like
like,
going to a movie and seeing all these CGI characters, getting
yeah,
hurt, and it's like I don't really care. I can tell that those aren't
yeah,
really real human beings, and they're not in real jeopardy.
yeah, there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be possible to create, great AI performances, but do I want to watch that if I know there's not a human soul behind it?
Right.
Some people may, some people won't. I don't want a massage from a robot, unless they look like the ones in Westworld, maybe, but I don't, that doesn't make sense. I want a bartender that's a human. There's lots of things where we want craftsmanship and, artisanal skills in things. We want the human touch. I will pay more to go and listen to my favorite band in concert live than I will to listen to them on Spotify, for example.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think
it's
we're going to
interesting you
have
should
that.
mention that because I wanted to talk about music and art
Mm,
and movies and TV because I have this vision that we're going to get to the point where all of this art that we consume, all of this movies, music, TV, everything we consume is just going to be automatically generated for us by some AI robot which will do it perfectly to our specifications based on the mood that we're looking for. It's almost like the end of writers, the end of musicians, the end of photographers, the end of all of these creative professions, except for maybe a small group of people who do want the real human beings creating these things. We're going to have a whole slew of this AI slop, which is not going to be slop any longer. It'll be high quality, but it'll be tuned specifically to us, our individual taste exactly the moment we want it. Do you see that kind of future happening?
I do. I do.
Mm,
I think AI is good at scaling up capabilities. And if you want to hyper personalize music, hyper personalize TV shows, whatever it might be, you'll be able to do that at scale with AI. Now, the
yep.
question is, do we want that? There's something
Well,
nice about,
we may not want it, but the networks might want it.
yes, and I do want it, but I also don't want it. Let me explain what I mean. I don't think that Ferris Bueller's Day Off 2 is ever going to be made, but I want to see it, and I want it
Hmm.
to be great. And AI might give me the opportunity to do that, maybe by early 2030s.
Mm,
As long as there's a business model behind it that makes sure that the estate of John Hughes gets paid, that Matthew Broderick gets paid, Mia Sara, all the actors in it get paid for their likeness, and they get a taste of the business. Why not, right? Um, but that said, and by the way, I could be in the movie, and my friends could be in the movie as well, right?
sure.
There's no be fully custom
But this
tuned.
could be a movie just for you too. I mean, one
Yes,
day you
absolutely.
might say to
That's what I'm
yourself,
thinking.
"I
It's a
wish there was a
movie.
Ferris Bueller too,"
Yeah,
and the AI could create it just for you, and then decide, well, maybe somebody else might be interested in it, and make some ancillary revenues from that.
yeah, and maybe put your friends in it for your version, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there's a market for that fully custom stuff. But I think there's also something about shared experience to go
Mm,
to work and say, hey, did you see? I mean, at the moment, it's everybody's talking about pluribus, right? But there's all these shows. Stranger Things has been a big phenomenon. Gossip Girl was a big thing back in the day, right? And all the women were talking about it. It's it's nice to have those shared cultural experiences. We don't have them in the way that we used to because it used to be we'd sit down all at the same time. and now the time shifting has happened. But I think there's something nice about that that humans do value. Did you see this movie? Did you see that? It's something for us to talk about and share common human experiences. So I don't
Yeah.
think it will fully go away.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out whether that's continuing to wane or it's actually coming back or it's staying. Because we do have shared experiences like sporting events or concerts, etc., where everyone does get together in one place. But I
Yeah.
can't tell if it's happening less or it's happening more or it's happening it's at the same rate that it's been since COVID. I guess COVID was the real thing that made this almost institutionalize this sort of remote type of thing where there was no shared experiences anymore.
Well, TikTok's doing it too, right? Because
Right.
eyeballs are getting dragged to, fragmented. It's not long form material. It's not an hour. It's not even half an hour. It's 30
Right.
seconds or 10 seconds. So it is, micro fragmenting content. So that's happening as well. But yeah, I think people do like those shared experiences. And are they going to go away? I don't think so. I think it's something about humans and what helps us be human. We like connection. Connection is one of the six big things we need in our lives. And one of the ways that we find that connection is through shared experience.
Mm. So you think you think they're going to continue to grow, or do you think they're going to stay at the same level they're at now?
What will continue to grow?
The shared experiences we enjoy.
I think humans will always crave it.
Mm.
I mean, it's one of the reasons you're seeing live sports be so successful. And
Right.
anybody that's investing in the future of content knows it's not really in streaming. It's certainly not in broadcast. For sort of classic old content, it is live sports because that is about shared experience with your buddies.
Right. So since it's time to think like a futurist. We're already futurists, so we've been talking about the future this whole
Mhm.
time. Let's put on our hats and think about where we're going to be in 10 years, like 2035, 2036. Do you
Yeah.
think that if you're saying that AGI is going to be here in 2032 or something like that, this will be a post AGI world that we're
Right.
envisioning? Can you imagine how it's going to change, or are we still behind? I mean, I'm having trouble ever since we started talking, and you're telling me AGI is going to be here in less than 5 years or so. I'm like, how is this going to change the world? It's almost impossible to imagine.
Yeah, I think we're going to start to see erosion in jobs starting
Mm,
next year. Agentic AI is going to do that. Agentic AI is going to partner with us and amplify our abilities. But that means if you have a team of 10 people doing something and you can amplify their abilities, maybe you now only need seven.
mm,
So, I think it is going to start to have an impact on the job market, particularly on more junior roles, which makes it difficult for new college grads to get into work. We've already seen that happening.
yep.
So if I play it forward into the 2030s, let's say 2035, my biggest worry is that we're going to need a new economic model.
Mm,
Because if I play things forward logically, what you're essentially doing with AI is you're turning labor into capital. It's capitalism being wildly successful.
right.
And what happens is capitalism essentially eats itself. This is chapter 11 of my new book. Capitalism eats itself. It's so wildly successful that it turns most labor into capital. The only problem
Mm,
with that is in a capitalist society, you need consumers to be consuming.
right.
And consumers are also workers. So if you no longer have enough consumers, the whole thing collapses. So you have to think about a new economic model. Now, the good news is AGI is very deflationary.
Mm,
Most of the costs of goods and services is labor. So if you can automate a lot of the labor, then the cost of those goods and services drops dramatically. So everything becomes much cheaper for us. So maybe, we need to divide up the work in a different way. Maybe we only need to work to the age of 30 now, and then you
mm.
retire at 30, and you have made enough money in that time to be able to live very comfortably for the rest of your life. Maybe it's 25, maybe it's 20. We don't know yet,
But
but
then
we're
what
going to
have
have to
has
figure that
value
out.
has to change completely, right?
Mhm.
Because what has value
Yeah.
today and what will have value in 10 years it has to be absolutely different. And that's going
Yes.
to be a difficult thing for people to understand.
Yeah. Vinod Khosla is successful tech VC. He was an early investor in OpenAI, Instacart, and he was the co-founder of Sun Microsystems back in the day. He has a model where he describes three phases that are coming all of our way. He says the second half of the 2020s feels like extreme productivity gains.
Hmm.
So as we deploy agentic AI, spatial AI, and then physical AI beyond that, you start to get, amazing productivity gains. Then he says the 2030s are a period of wild disruption.
Hmm.
That's where we have to rethink our economic system, the social contract. We could see incredible breakthroughs in medicine that extend health spans and lifespans. So now all of the Black-Scholes calculations that go into figuring out your retirement planning, all of the variables to those now change because your costs have changed, your lifespan's changed, how active you are in that lifespan has changed. So it changes everything there. And then once you get through all of this very difficult period in the 2030s, he then says, okay, then you get to the 2040s, and that is a period of abundance. That's when
Hmm.
we've figured all this stuff out. We've re-engineered and reworked the economy. Now machines are doing most of the work. We live lives of leisure. We have everything provided for us. And then I think the real challenge is, what are we going to do with our time?
Right.
How are you going to make meaning in your life? What's important to you?
Well, I love the fact that this is only 15 years away because I want to be there. I definitely want to be there.
Well, Demis Hassabis, the CEO of Google DeepMind, and a Nobel Prize-winning CEO, he has said he thinks we could cure all disease by 2035. So the
Nice.
key is don't get hit by a bus between now and 2035, and you'll be okay.
I don't plan to. And hopefully the buses will be autonomous by then too, and they won't be hitting
There you
anybody.
go. There you
So that's
go.
great. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Best way is to go to my website, stevebrown.ai, very easy, or you can email me directly at sb@stevebrown.ai.
Fantastic. Well, I'll put all that in the show notes and we can go direct. So thank you very much. This is great. We should do this again. We have so much more to talk about.
Yeah, I'd love it. I had a great time, so thank you. Time
Awesome.
whizzed
Thank you
by.
so much.
Thanks,
Talk to you
Chris.
later.
Bye.
Bye.
Pixels and philosophies merge and mold, a future untold, unseen.